Make cool stop-motion movies and flipbooks on a Mac today on Call for Help. Hi, Mom!
Hi, Mom. But does your mom watch, Ken? That was Kenny Gamble, our technical director. All this month, we're asking our various staff members to open the show, and Kenny wins the prize for the most chutzpah. This is episode 500. Can I hear it? Yay! Amazing. Call for help, half a century, or half a millennium old. That's just here in Canada. This is our 8th year doing the show, and I just love doing it. I'm really glad that you've come to watch it. Let me explain what we do here if you're new. This is a show where we talk about technology. I answer calls and questions about tech. We bring in smart people to talk about tech. We help you learn about it so that you can use it. And it's not, oh, look at the cool new things that are happening. No, we're not cheerleaders here. It's really about taking the technology that we all have, we all live with every day, and making the most out of it, knowing how to buy it and how to sell it, how to get rid of it, how to hack it, how to use it. Marcel Gagne is here, our Linux guru. Now, I know that a lot of you don't use Linux. Maybe some of you don't even know what Linux is. It's an alternative operating system. You've got Mac, you've got OS X, and you've got Linux. It's absolutely free. It's very powerful, runs on most systems. And we're going to take a look at a reason you might want to take a look at Linux, the coolest Linux desktop ever. It's just purty. This is the kind of stuff that gets people using Linux. And, of course, once they actually get their feet wet, they often say, this is really good. No spyware, no viruses, rock solid. Also, the Mac Medic is here, Jeff Barrett. He's going to answer a question that I got the other day. I was at Mac World Expo. I was walking around. A guy came up to me. He said, Leo, can I ask you a question? I have a high school student son who is really into making his own movies. In fact, ever since we got him a Mac when he was about 11 or 12, and ever since he's been making stop-action movies, where you take a frame, move it, take a frame, move it, take a frame, move it. He said, is there any way, he's been doing this by hand, any way to do it more easily? Jeff Barrett has found a way. He's going to answer that question. We'll show you iStop-Motion. But first, let's not stop. Let's go right into the first call of the day. From Santa Fe Springs, California, Robert is on the line. Hello, Robert. Welcome to Call for Help.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, I'm glad you called. All the way from California, sunny California. Say hello to Basil Cowart from sunny Jamaica on camera number 1. So what can I do for you, Robert?
Well, I bought a Zune.
You did?
Yes, I'm one of the few non-cool people that bought a Zune.
Well, now don't say that. I think the Zune is actually very cool looking, and I'm kind of widely known for making fun of it, but it's not the hardware that I'm making fun of. In fact, I think the Zune is a really great little device. It's more the copy protection that they put on it that, does some weird things. But are you happy with it? Do you like it?
I like it in the sense that, I don't have nothing to compare it to other than my daughter's little Nano. It's a lot pretty. The Nano's a lot prettier, and I think it has some functionality features that are a little bit better than the Zune. For example, I mostly use the Zune for my RIPS CDs, audiobooks, and podcasts, or at least I'm trying for the podcast. And
yeah, because she can use iTunes, which has built-in podcast download support. The Zune software does not, nor does the Zune say on the menu anywhere podcast. However, it totally supports podcasts because podcasts really are just MP3s. In fact, it supports video podcasts too, as long as they're in a format that it can read. A QuickTime video podcast, no, but it'll support Windows Media Podcasts just fine, the video. So there's no reason a Zune can't play podcasts. I, as a podcast maker, had kind of hoped that Microsoft would put podcasts in the menu and maybe built in the same kind of podcast downloading features that iTunes has. I still have hope that they'll do that in the next version, that they may upgrade the software. And the Zune is completely upgradable, so they may well do that. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. You can totally do it. Here, it's very simple, actually. You just need what they call a podcast catcher. There's a lot of programs on Windows that'll do that. Doppler will do it. iPodder, actually they call it the Juice iPod program now. And this is the one I'm going to recommend. This is absolutely free. It's called My Podder. It's from Podcast Ready. It's a free and easy way to download podcasts. You can use their website to sign up. I mean, it really makes it very simple.
What's the URL?
Podcastready.com. Now, here's the trick on this. Here's how you do it. The reason I like Podcast Ready is because they have a podcast directory, right? And that's one of the advantages of iTunes is the directory, which makes it easy to find stuff. For some reason, we're not on the directory, but that's okay. I can live with that. but Twit isn't the podcast network I do. I still recommend it because I think it's really great software, and it's absolutely free. Here's the trick on making it work with a Zune. You will be downloading podcasts. You'll subscribe to podcasts. You know, let's say you want to hear Cranky Geeks, John C. Dvorak's podcast. Actually, there's video of it too, but let's say you want to hear the audio. You'll subscribe to the audio, and it will download them into a folder on your computer. Whenever there's a new episode, it'll automatically get downloaded. The trick is, tell the Zune software to watch that folder.
Okay.
And you can do that in the Zune software. You say, watch this folder, and if anything new comes in this folder, you add it to my playlist. You can even tell it what playlist to add it to. So you'll add it to a podcast playlist, and then it will automatically sync onto your Zune, so it'll work just fine. There are some additional features the iPod has that I don't know if you can do with the Zune yet. Things like, if I've listened to it, take it off, stuff like that. I think the Zune can do that, though. You might have to play with it. I had a Zune for a few weeks, and I played with it, but I don't remember off the top of my head if it would do that. So this is a great way to get podcasts. It works very well. It would be nice if, as a podcaster, if Microsoft had made it perhaps a little bit easier to do this, but it's not too hard.
Okay. Well, I did get like a 20-some-odd megabyte upgrade last week.
Oh, good.
So maybe they're working on something like that.
20 megabytes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a quick question for you, too, regarding the podcast. On some sites, it says download MP3, but when I click on it, QuickTime opens up, but it doesn't give me the option to download or save.
Oh, yeah. My site, if you do that, it'll do that, too. It's just that's because you've installed QuickTime and told QuickTime, even on Windows, you've told QuickTime, you're the player for MP3s. So mine's doing it right now, too. It's downloading. So the best way to do that is instead of downloading it by clicking the link and letting QuickTime download it. Although, by the way, after it's downloaded, you can click this arrow on the right and you should be able to save it as source. I don't think that's a QuickTime Pro feature. I think you should be able to do that. But in any event, pardon me? It is a Pro feature. Okay, so that's why it's not enabled here. So here's what you do to avoid that. Instead of just clicking the link, right-click on the link. So you see it says here, right, download as MP3. Right-click on that and say Save Link As. And then you'll be able to save it as an MP3 directly to a Zune folder so that the Zune will pick it up.
Great.
So, I love the Zune. I love the way it feels. I love the screen. I think it plays back video great. I like the Zune software. And I tell you, if, like you've never bought songs from any, the problem with the Zune is, what if you've bought songs from Rhapsody or Pure Tracks or Napster? Using Windows, media protection, the Plays for protection, it won't play on the Zune. That's one of my big beefs with it. It doesn't support Microsoft's own copy protection scheme, so you have to start all over again and get all new songs. But if, like you're just coming from your CDs, your content, you're starting from scratch, it's a great way to start. And I love the subscription feature where $15 a month, and anything in the Zune library, you could just copy onto your Zune.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to go. It means you have access to 1 million songs for $15 a month. So I think there's a lot to, as much as I don't like about the Zune, I think the Zune is a beginning, it's a first generation platform. And as you say, Microsoft can easily update it and already is. So I think we're going to see a lot of, I have a feeling, and I'm pushing Microsoft, I'm lobbying hard, I have a feeling we'll see direct podcast support sometime soon. I really hope so.
Great, I can't wait.
Yeah, it makes it much easier. Which podcast do you like to listen to?
Yours.
Oh, okay.
Your Twit, especially your Security Now. I am so hooked on that.
Well, we just put out a new one today, and in fact, that's what I was just showing you. So if you go to twit.tv, which is my podcast site, just right-click on the download MP3 file, save it, and then save it into, as I said, a Zune folder, so it'll automatically pick it up. But if you want to subscribe to it, you totally can. Just click the, actually what I would do is install MyPodder, and then once you do, you click the subscribe button and you select other podcast clients, and once you've installed MyPodder, it'll automatically subscribe to it in MyPodder. It'll support it for you.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to do that right now.
Oh, good. Thank you very much, Robert. I'm glad you're watching, or listening, I should say, watching the show and listening to the podcast. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk with our Linux whiz about, they spelled it, I guess that's right, W-H-I-Z, whiz. I guess that's right, yeah. Not W-I-Z-Z. Linux whiz about what he claims is the coolest desktop ever invented. If you're a Linux user and you want a way to get grandma to use Linux, or maybe if you've never used Linux and you say, I just think it's too ugly, you stay tuned. We're going to open your eyes in just a minute. Stay right here. A lot of times people consider Linux, but then decide against it because they think it's just too geeky, it's not cool enough, and it's not sexy enough. Well, if you're in the mood for wobbly windows, rotating desktop cubes, burning, melting applications, and folding desktops, you ain't getting that on Windows, you ain't getting it on Mac. You're going to get it on Linux. And once again, our Linux guru, Marcel Gagne, is here. He is from, he's got his own books series now. And in fact, the latest
The Moving To series, the latest is Moving to Free Software.
Really
which
cool.
I realize is going to be a shock to everybody, but it covers free software running on, are you ready for it?
Bring me the book, Sean.
Windows.
Free software on Windows too?
Yeah.
Why would you even bother?
Well, because I figure it's like this. Giving up any dangerous habit like smoking or something like that. You need something in the interim. Like nicotine gum or whatever. So free software is the nicotine gum of Windows.
No CD, or there's a CD in here too. So this is your patch, basically.
There's actually a DVD that covers some amazing free software in there. Great. The DVD also has, you ready for it, a copy of Ubuntu and Kubuntu.
All on one disc.
All on one disc.
Now, how much would you pay? This is brand new from Addison Wesley. We also are going to show you something that probably is not in this book.
It's not in this book, no. This is quite frankly ridiculously bleeding edge. It is like a wickedly cool desktop. You can actually get it for Ubuntu, Kubuntu. Some of the very recent distributions that have come out, like the latest Zune, will actually include this. It's called XGL.
XGL. And it requires a high-end graphics card.
It requires a high-end graphics card. You are going to need a 3D graphics card, but you can do some amazingly cool things.
We've got Dave Ringer looking over our shoulder because he's going to shoot this screen. It's the only way we can get it. It's so advanced, even our own equipment can't get a picture of it.
Just can't
now,
scan
right
it.
now, it looks just like a standard desktop.
It really does look like a standard desktop, but right off the bat, I mean, if I start off doing some little things like this, like I move my windows, see the way they wobble like this?
That's cool.
That's kind of cool. So right off the bat, that looks a little bit different. This is kind of neat as well. My windows are, rotating around this really cool desktop cube. If I minimize something like this, now you've seen this sort of thing in, obviously in
Macintosh does it.
Thank you, Macintosh does it. But there we go. We bring that back up and so forth. I can play my videos and so forth. Now, the really neat thing is when it does the screen preview, you'll notice that the videos are still playing in the screen preview.
They do it?
And then, of course, I can take that guy over there. Now, this is one of those things that everybody loves to show off when they're doing this thing. So this is a strange little YouTube video that somebody posted of me. But check it out.
You're bending it around the corner.
I'm bending it around the cube. And you can still see this thing playing around the cube.
I'm amazed because you're running this on a laptop. So it mustn't need a super duper SLI card. I mean, it's
the card that's on
video.
here. The card that's on here is actually an Intel integrated graphics card. It's I forget the series.
950?
950 or something like that.
So that's not the highest end.
It's not the highest end, but you do need a 3D graphics card because obviously, if you've got like if you don't have the acceleration on the video card, it's not going to be able to handle any of these things. And you can do some pretty wonderful, freaky things like this. Like, for instance, if I close this application, it catches fire and burns. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Everybody.
It's burning up the window.
Boom.
Oh, I would just sit there and open. This is not good for productivity. I would sit there and open and close windows.
This is not good for productivity. And by the way, what happens when I close a window there? These
you can set all this stuff.
These are my visual effects here. I can go to the kinds of animations that happen, and I can decide. You know, it burns, it beams up, so it fades out. It looks like a transporter on Star Trek. I can make the cube multiple sides. I can invert the cube so it's inside it. I can make it transparent so you can see through the cube when you rotate it.
Show us the beam up one.
All right, well, let's do the beam up
effect.
That's for a close here. So let's close that.
Ooh, I like it.
Isn't that nice?
You know, I like that better than the burning because I feel like that's fun.
Wobbling windows. Now check it out. Okay, you can see the window decorations that exist there.
Yeah.
I can also change these on the fly. Look at the top of the decorations. And of course, people are writing.
Oh, look, it's Vista. Wait a minute. They have a little Vista transparency going on there. That's neat.
All sorts of different desktops, and of course, my wobbly window.
If you've got a Windows user who's using Vista who's saying, well, look at my beautiful Vista desktop, you say, well, look at my beautiful XGL desktop.
Yes, and let me tell you, by the way, this particular version is called Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L, and Beryl, of course, is a type of gem of which there are multiple types and so forth. And this is what they're actually basing this thing on. Now, let me show you something else that's cool on the effects here. Effects, visual effects, there we go. 3D effects.
Okay.
Okay, I kind of like this one.
I thought we were getting 3D effects now.
Well, we are. But watch what happens when I rotate the cube now. So I rotate the cube.
Oh, the windows are stacked.
The windows are stacked, so you can tell which application is on top of which one.
So weird.
By the way, it's stacked. Isn't that cool?
I don't understand why they didn't do this in Vista. Just think, it would have made people really go crazy.
This is so over the top, and of course there's a plug-in architecture to this so that people can write all sorts of special effects plug-ins that they want.
Now, do you do this as your regular desktop or no? Is it too distracting?
From time to time.
Yeah.
Now, the version that I'm running, I'm running this so bleeding edge at the moment. It's stable. But if I'm doing something really important, no, it's not going to crash. Unless I'm doing something really
Then it will crash, of course. The minute you're writing a book chapter.
But it's wonderful. And sometimes I will run this all day long. I mean, it does affect your productivity in the sense that you go, oh, let me see what other effects I can turn on here and so forth. And there are so many
But a good way, I
think,
to get somebody to try Linux if they're
and it's so beautiful. And like I said, you know, when you do the video over the corner and it's still playing and they can see that, people just sort of look at that and go, I got to have me that.
It's not on the book, but there are about 1,000 other programs that are free software, moving to free software from Marcel Gagne. That's his latest in the Moving To series. And XDL is available for free for download. We've got the links on our website, callforhelp.tv.com. To find out more about Marcel, go to marcelgagne.com. Now, time for boy, that's so slick. I want that on all my computers. Time for our quiz of the day. In which year was the first issue of Wired magazine published? It really changed the way people thought about magazines. Was it 89, 93, 95, or 2112? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it on Call for Help.
I think it was 1955.
55, that's right, yeah. Welcome back to Call for Help. I'm Leo Laporte. That was cool. Now I want everything to rotate and move around and do stuff like that. Ron's on the line from Syracuse. Is it Nebraska? Hello, Ron.
Yes, it's Nebraska.
All right. Welcome to Call for Help.
Well, thank you very much.
What can I do for you today?
I'm looking at upgrading my wireless to wireless N, and I'm looking for a router that's going to be fully upgradable to the final N.
Rightly so.
For a router 150 or less.
Yeah, N is the new standard of Wi-Fi. So there's 802.11b. Actually, the very first wireless networking was 802.11. Nobody used it because it was a 1 megabit system. It was very slow. I guess it was used, but it wasn't. It didn't become famous. Let's put it that way. 802.11b followed, and that's still kind of the lingua franca of Wi-Fi. When you go to a Starbucks or any hotspot, a hotel, anywhere, you're pretty much getting 802.11b. In the home, however, people have upgraded to more recent versions. A was the next version to come along. It hasn't really taken off very much because its range wasn't very great. 802.11g has become pretty much the standard for home, but there is a new standard, N. And N is really great in a couple of ways. First of all, lots faster. N is maybe 4 or 5 times faster, depending on who you believe. Nominally, it's 200 megabits. Actually, not only it's 540 megabits, typically it's about 200 megabits. I have a table right here I've got on Wikipedia. The range is about twice as far as 802.11g. So for those reasons alone, I think a lot of people are looking at N. There is an issue. It hasn't been ratified yet. It's imminent, but it hasn't yet been approved, as you point out, by the international standards body, the IEEE. So until they say, boom, this is what N is, every router you buy is kind of a guess. They call them 802.11n. Pre-N was the first ones, and then now they're calling them draft. And the reason is we've moved forward in the process. We have a draft standard. I have to say, though, there's a lot of controversy over the draft standard. In fact, one of the companies that is really, I think, the best company for 802.11n, Ergo, is complaining because Broadcom, their competitor, has influenced the N standard, and they say Broadcom's changes make it much less compatible and make it much more likely to cause interference. So there's some battling going on over this standard, which might slow things down. So at the time we're doing this show, and probably for the next few months, draft is the best you're going to get. Now, as you remember, when we were modems did this, you'd get pre-release, pre-ratification versions of V.32, for instance. And often the firmware will be upgradable. And in most cases, we believe that the draft N routers and the pre-N routers will be firmware upgradable. But there's no guarantee because it depends what the standard ends up with. It's possible they could throw things in the standard that you can't change in firmware. So it is completely possible that you could buy a router now that is not compatible with the standard. Does that matter? Probably not. Because when you buy your draft N router, we've got one over here. This is the Linksys. This is the Linksys. Yeah. When you buy that, you're going to buy all new equipment to go with it anyway, all N, cards and N USB dongles for your various machines. Otherwise, there's no point. If you have a B or a G machine on the N network, the whole network's going to slow down to G or B speed. Well, maybe that's not strictly true. You still get some of the range benefits, but really, you want to have all N if you're going to use N. So you're going to buy all new equipment. It'll all be draft. It'll all work. So I think that it's probably less. I understand what you're saying. It's less of a thing to worry about, though. And I do believe, in all likelihood, you'll be able to firmware upgrade these. I mean, there's no guarantee, but I think that you will. Now, what one should you buy? Well, there's really only two that I would consider. That's Linksys and Belkin's. The reason is they're the only ones. One of the ways these are faster is they use something called MIMO, multiple in, multiple out. You see, that one has 3 antennas on it. That's how it speeds up. There's true MIMO. And there's real MIMO, and only one is real, but it's not true. It's very confusing. I want you to get the one that has the Ergo chipset in it. In my opinion, that's the best of them, and that's Linksys and Belkin. You agree? You've tested a lot more than I have.
Yes.
Sean Carruthers, our lab analyst.
Yeah, I did take a look at these a while back on the show when they were still in draft.
Linksys and Belkin?
I did Linksys, Belkin, I did D-Link, and
I'm less impressed with Netgear and D-Links.
Right, and there were actually some compatibility issues between those. So if you do buy, definitely buy
all in one.
Buy all in one brand.
Right.
For sure.
And of the Linksys and Belkin, did you have an opinion? I loved the Belkin pre-N. I thought that was the best.
I liked Belkin as well, but Linksys was very good as well.
Okay, so both of them have the same chipset, so really they're kind of the same machine. Under $150? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
I think they're a little pricier than that, especially since, Ron, you're going to be buying new cards as well.
Exactly, the cards for all 4 computers.
Yeah. So I'm not sure you're going to be able to get under your budget.
The router itself that I was just looking for itself.
Apple, it's funny, Apple has now announced its N router. I don't know whose chipset they're using. And I think theirs is actually, let me see, are you in Canada or the States?
States.
Okay, so you're talking U.S. dollars. Let me look at the Apple store, see what they're charging. I think it's under $150. I was surprised because Apple's traditionally had the most expensive Wi-Fi routers. You pay a lot more for those airports. Oh, it is more. It's $179 for the new N.
It's close.
We're just seeing right now the wireless N broadband router from Linksys that we just showed off is actually about $130 after rebates.
So they've fallen a little bit. Okay.
So yeah, just over rebates. It'll be just a bit over $150.
Get the Linksys. Now, I've had problems with Linksys a little bit lately because they got so big so fast. They had some quality control issues. I've noticed some installation problems, but you didn't have any trouble getting that thing working.
A few issues.
You did.
I mean, Linksys, when they're setting it up, they're trying to make it as easy as possible for the consumer, and they make some assumptions sometimes so that if you're swapping out an old network, you can't necessarily do it quite as easily.
Tell you, I've never heard anybody complain about the Belkin N routers. I think that might be my, if you had to put me to the test, I would say get the Belkin. I think they're still pre-N. Look, they're cheap too. The network are relatively cheap. Let's see, the network cards. That's the card. The router is. Where's the price on the router? See, the cards are like 60, 70, and 80 bucks, and the router's $100. Oh, due to the overwhelming popularity of this product, we're out of stock. But that's right now. I'm sure they'll get those back in. I bet you that's because they're going to the draft standard. So go with a Belkin. That'll be the least expensive, and we found that's the easiest one. Don't you find that the easiest one to install and use? Okay, Ron?
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't normally recommend Belkin products, but the reason is because you just don't know what you're going to get. They outsource from other companies. Somebody else made this, and whoever made this did a really good job. And it's really a great N router. I would go to N. If you're getting a new Wi-Fi system, in other words, all new equipment, or you've never done it before, absolutely go with N. And don't worry about being draft standard. I think that's going to be close enough to the final release. It will be okay. Stick around. We put your technology fears to bed by helping another troubled viewer. Get your jammies on. We'll be back right after these messages. Stay here. Welcome back to Call for Help. I'm Leo Laporte, answering your calls for help from Mont-Saint-Hilaire in Quebec. It's Christian. Hello, Christian. Welcome.
Hi.
Did I say that fairly passably?
Yeah, Mont-Saint-Hilaire.
Okay.
You have to have a sort of a Quebec accent to say that properly.
What can I do for you today? I'm not going to even try.
Well, I guess this question I'm about to ask can be either solved fairly easily or fairly it could be complicated. I bought a game recently, and since my sort of knowledge on computers is sort of restricted, and I want to know a bit more about video cards, which is AKA graphics cards. I've noticed that my graphics card isn't advanced enough to play my game.
This is very common. In fact, I would say right now, the only software that's challenging computers at all to get faster or better is gaming. Yeah. Your computer's plenty fast to surf the net, do word processing, send email, even for things like Photoshop and editing video. Most computers are plenty fast. It's only when you start to do hardcore 3D gaming that you go, whoa, this thing's a pig.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me a little bit about the computer you're trying to get to work and what software you're trying to get to work on it.
Well, the game that I'm trying to work on it is the new game Elder Scrolls.
Yes, okay.
Or Oblivion. And basically, I've been looking around on my computer, and the graphics card that I've looked up, it says I have an SIS M760GX.
Yeah, it's a motherboard graphics card.
Yeah.
Is this a laptop or a desktop?
This is a laptop.
Aha.
Yeah. So I was thinking there might be some complications with this.
Yeah, it's really hard to. Well, in fact, I don't think you can upgrade the video card on the laptop. It's integrated into the motherboard. Mm-hmm. It's not like a PC where you could pop it out and put a new one in. So I think you're pretty much stuck with whatever you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean Carruthers says no, it ain't so. Are you telling me that there are upgrade cards for laptops now?
There used to be a long time ago. They were not very powerful, but just recently we saw at CES, Asus Corporation just brought out a new external solution that actually brings the full power of a desktop-style card in an external breakout box.
Oh, wow. It's an external box, so it connects to the PC card?
Right, it's called the XG Station, and here's the catch.
I can't imagine it works very well.
No, you actually have to connect it through the Express card slot.
I was going to say, it won't work even with card bus. No. It has to be Express card. And so that's the little weirdo slot. Right. It's not that, you probably don't have it unless you have a pretty new laptop. I know I have them on my Mac, but it's instead of the credit card size card bus slot, these Express cards are small. They look like almost like you might stick a memory card in there, compact flash in there.
Right. So unfortunately, this solution isn't going to work with an older notebook with a PC card slot.
Do you have an Express card slot on your laptop, Christian?
I believe so. I do appear to have some sort of slot on the side, which does look like it might be what you're talking about.
It's not credit card shaped. It's not square. It's it's got rounded corners, and I'd say it's about 2 centimeters long. Actually, we have one here we can show you. We're going to disconnect Mike's laptop from the cabling, and we'll bring it over, because the Mac PowerBooks have these. In fact, Apple got a lot of criticism for it because they don't include the standard PC card slot. They only include these special new card slots. Mm-hmm. There it is. Sean's got it for you. So see, it's kind of weird looking. It's rounded corners, and it's short. Maybe it's 3 centimeters. Nah, it's 2 centimeters. So is that what you got?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it would have to be a laptop sold probably in the last year. What is, and you said this is Asus that's offering this.
It's Asus.
What do they call this?
It's called the XG Station.
Wow.
Well,
and did you see it at work?
look into it because actually this notebook that I have, it's actually pretty recent. It's about, I must have received it about last summer.
Oh, it might do it then.
So, yeah, it might do it. I'll
look
just
at
have
this
to look
thing.
more into it, yeah.
This is really cool. Look at it. It really has some cool looking thing on it.
Yeah, and it actually drives out at 1080p to an external television. You can do full resolution that way, HDMI output.
Wow. Yeah, that's really exciting.
So this is, and I guess because that slot is fast enough, it must be pretty. It must be 3 gigabyte bits or something like that to get that kind of performance. Wow, that's very cool. So it's a beautiful looking little thing that plugs into your laptop. Obviously, it kind of makes it not so portable anymore. This thing is sitting on the side of it. What's the knob for? Is that to turn up the speed?
Oh, it has a whole pile of multimedia functionality built into that.
That's wild. All right, how much was it, Sean?
Oh, now that I don't know if they've determined.
Let's see if they've set a price.
A little bit, yeah.
It isn't probably available yet. Enjoy up to 10 times faster graphics power boost with cinematic. Oh, it does audio performance as well. Wow. Wow, this is very cool. Unfortunately, Q2 2007. That means around May, June, sometimes July.
So a few months.
Slips. So it'll be a few months yet. All right, Christian?
Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you. That's the only solution. And if you're lucky enough to have a computer that supports it, I'm not sure I'm going to recommend it even until we try it. It's probably fairly expensive as well. Otherwise, you're stuck with...
I'll try to see the show, and I'll try to, if you ever do, we'll
let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, that's the first thing I've ever seen. And normally the answer to your question would be, no, sorry, you're stuck with what you got.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's usually the case. Although Oblivion should run okay if you reduce the screen size, maybe turn off some of the special effects. It's not the most demanding program ever, so it should run okay. Hey, thank you, Christian.
No problem.
Take care. Time for another pause in the show. Don't you pause. We're going to stop in and say hello to our staffers toiling away in the control room on our way to a few little commercials, but we will be back with more great information. Stay right.
Yes. 10. Stand by, dissolve. 10. 9. 8 commercials. 7.
By the icon,
6. A lot of commercials. 4. 3. Roll commercials. 2.
I was just checking on the Oblivion website for our last caller, and I take it back. It does actually require quite a bit of a video card. They recommend a 3 gigahertz Pentium 4 or better, a gigabyte of RAM, and an ATX X800 or NVIDIA GeForce 6800 or better card. So, and here are the list of the supported cards. I mean, this is designed for pretty hardcore gaming. You probably couldn't play Oblivion on a laptop. I don't know. I think it'd have to be a very high-end laptop. Although, actually, I have an X1600 in my laptop, so maybe I could play it. Yeah. Tom's on the line from Overland Park, Kansas. Hello, Tom.
How you guys doing?
Very well. How are you?
I'm just fine.
What can we do for you?
I have a nagging question that I've been trying to get answered.
A nagging question?
You bet.
Oh, my goodness. Nobody should have a nag. Well, maybe I can help you.
Well, I hope so. It concerns Outlook Express, Microsoft Outlook Express email package.
I can't help you.
I know.
Go ahead.
But anyway, as with other email packages, I have group mailings.
Right.
And sometimes when I mail, I would like to exclude some of the members of that group, because the emails are sensitive or whatever, and I just don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
So I try to take those off, and then what I do is it just creates a new group because it won't revert back to the old group.
That's right.
Now, with Lotus Notes and stuff, all you have to do is put the group name in the email header, hit PF9, it displays all of the people in the group.
Right.
You can eliminate some of those people, and then the next time you email that group, it reverts back to the old group. And I was just wondering if there's a way we could do that with Outlook Express without creating a new group every time, because it's, it's disconcerting.
But I think what you're seeing really is the limitation of Outlook Express. Look, Microsoft hasn't updated that program in
20 years.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, it hasn't updated it in maybe 5 years. They're not going to update it anymore. Vista has some completely new piece of software. And remember, their goal is not to get you. Outlook Express is free. It comes with the operating system.
Yes, it does.
Their goal is to move you to Outlook. So there are always going to be some things that you can't do in Outlook Express. modifying a group like that's probably one of them. If you start sending a lot, are these just kind of friendly emails?
Yes,
or
they are. They're just to the family and stuff.
Joke and stuff.
Other people.
Yeah, because, I mean, the truth is, if you really have a mailing list you want to maintain, I would recommend a standalone program. Here's one that's free, by the way, Send Blaster. It's at sendblaster.com. Works with Outlook Express, and it has that kind of capability. In fact, it's much more sophisticated. Now, I know that may be a lot for a family newsletter or a joke list, but it does give you more capabilities, and it is free. So.
And now, can I work with that with Outlook Express?
Absolutely. It integrates with Outlook Express just fine.
And I don't lose my addresses or have to migrate them over to a different program?
Well, you will kind of import them into Send Blaster, but you'll basically maintain your groups in Send Blaster.
Okay.
And you'll create the email in Outlook Express, and then Send Blaster will do the work of sending them out. It's designed for larger mailing lists, but it does have capabilities, those kinds of capabilities. I mean, it'd be an easy, inexpensive, because it's free, way of modifying Outlook Express to kind of do more what you want it to do.
Yeah, that's the only problem I have with Outlook Express.
Yeah, it's a very
seems
simple.
To work all right.
It's a simple program. I mean, it works fine. It doesn't have junk mail filtering. They want you to move to Outlook, so they don't really have any incentive to give you all the features you'd ever want in Outlook Express. And that's one of the ways they get you to do it is by having some of the features, but then that one little thing that you want to do. Oh, gee, I'm sorry. You have to upgrade that.
Oh, I'm sure that's right.
Yeah.
I have one other question concerning email programs. I'm reluctant to go to a Gmail or something like that because of the hassle of moving from the Outlook Express into it.
Well, I have to say,
is it as easy as going from IE to Mozilla, let's say?
Oh, it's easier than that. You may actually find that you really like Gmail. I'll tell you what. Gmail, by the way, will do that kind of group management that you're talking about.
Right.
It's absolutely free. I'm going to recommend, though, instead of Gmail, I think if you want something that looks like Outlook, take a look at Yahoo Mail. Also free, although for, I think, $20 a year, you can have a completely ad-free version of it. Let me just log into my account right here. I got to show you this. Yahoo Mail, oh, crumbum. I think I don't have my, my password might have changed. But one of the nice things about Yahoo Mail, let me see if I mistyped it. My password is Sean and Mikey. No, that's not. Let's see if it changed. I might have. No, there it goes. Good. So Yahoo Mail. Now this is a paid account, so it doesn't have any ads. Looks exactly like Outlook. That's what I really like about it, and it's all online. So they've really done a nice job, I think, of making it very easy to use. It's got spam filtering. It's got a lot of the features you want. I haven't looked at the group capabilities, whether it would support the groups in the way you want, but I suspect it would. It's very powerful. If you're looking for now the advantage of online is no matter where you are, you just, as long as you can get a browser, you can check your mail.
Yes, and I can do that now. I use myemail.com. It works great.
Oh, all right.
I've used it in Italy. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, that is really a nice feature of it. So I think Google Mail, I mean, I'll tell you, Amber has become a Google Mail convert. She tells everybody, use Google Mail, because it has a lot of power, a lot of nice features, and it's absolutely free. Yahoo Mail, the new beta version, is also very good, very much like Outlook. Or there's a program you can use, the Send Blaster program, that'll do that kind of group mailing for you.
Well, that sounds really good. Now, these other emails would have to change our email address, correct?
Nope. Oh, for Yahoo? No, because what you can do is you can have Yahoo and Gmail do this too. Grab your mail from the other address.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't have to change your email address?
Nope. But you'd have an additional email address. Google has this nice new feature of creating fake email addresses. So when you want to give somebody an email address for signing up to something, you can create a temporary email address in Google that's very nice.
I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
No.
It's a new feature. It's very nice.
Sign up for Leoville Town Square boards that way. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because I send you a lot of junk mail. Mike Lazazara, Mr. Free File, is here with another free file of the day. Yep. What do we got today?
Well, we were talking the other day about how to fix a stuck pixel on your LCD screen.
Yeah, sometimes you rub it or... No?
You said you turned off your LCD,
you turn it off
and you leave it off. Yeah. But there's another way if that doesn't perhaps work. And this is kind of like one of these kind of maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
But it's worth a try because it's free.
It's free, right? So the first thing is you can launch from the website, and it's just essentially a window which changes consistently. And you just leave it going.
It's kind of like white noise.
Yeah, and the important thing is when you're running this to try to fix stuck pixels, make sure you have your power settings changed so that it stays on all the time. You don't want
basically it's cycling that pixel real fast, trying to get it to unstick.
And if you don't want to do it that way, if you want to just launch it full screen, whoops, I have it running here, you can just download a jar file, which is a Java file, and it will launch full screen like that. And you can leave it. Looks like there's something really wrong with my computer right now. This would be a good prank to run.
For people who are just tuning in, do not attempt to adjust the horizontal. Do not attempt to adjust the vertical. We have control of your TV.
Anyhow, so you can run this on your screen. And they also sell a plasma version as well, or for LCD TV, so you can plug in as essentially a DVD, I guess it repeats. And you can also do it that way. But
of dubious value in saving a plasma, but maybe you can unstick.
But if you spend $3,000 on a TV, you might as well, if it's $15.
What's this called? J Screen Fix.
J Screen Fix.
And it is free.
Absolutely.
And it is online at MrFreeFile.com or our very own site, callforhelptv.com. That's Mr. Freefile. Please don't call him free. It's Mr. Freefile. Coming up next, we'll get the skinny on making sweet stop-action movies on our Macs. All you need is the built-in camera and some software magic. I'll show you how it's done with the Mac Medic. Call for Help returns in just a couple of minutes. But meanwhile, time for our quiz question of the day. Are you ready? Ooh, this is a tough one. In which year was the first issue of Wired magazine published? 89, 93, 95, or 2012? It sure changed the face of publishing.
82.
82? No, I don't think so. Yeah. Get to the website, give us the answer, we'll talk about it. We'll call for help continues. Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you, in which year was the first issue of Wired magazine published? Was it 1989? I know what it was. I know. Mr. Cutter! I think it was 1995. But I thought wrong. It was 1993. It's been that long. Wow, very cool. Wired magazine really changed the face of magazine publishing. Well, Jeff Barrett, the Mac Medic is here. And as much as we love looking at vacation slideshows of beautiful sunsets and street scenes, let's face it, those old, tired shots can be so repetitive, so boring. Why not find a new way of displaying pictures that really shows off the experience of being there? Well, the Mac Medic's going to show you how with some software and a few examples of his recent trip. You just came back from India.
That's right. Namaste.
Jeff, welcome. Namaste. Was it great? Where did you go?
We were everywhere. We went down in the south. We went to the mountains. We were in the major cities.
Always wanted to go.
I highly recommend it.
I was going to say fun, but it's not fun. It is heady.
It's fun. It's
there's a lot
jarring.
Going on.
It is an amazing experience. You need to give yourself some good time there, not a week or two. You need to go for
How long?
I was there for a month.
Oh wow, that's
neat.
neat.
My clients were a little upset, but I had a good time.
I'm going. Bye-bye.
Exactly.
Well, you're back, and now you've got how many pictures?
Like thousands and thousands.
So what do you do? I mean,
well, what we did was a couple of fun things. We took a lot of still images, but we also did some stop motion stuff. And we used a program to load the images into it, but you can also use this program to control external cameras or the Apple EyeSight camera, so it's very versatile.
This could be used for the guy who stopped me at Macworld, whose son likes to make stop-action motion.
That's right.
Pictures.
So he could either use this program to control his camera,
right.
Because the EyeSight camera, you'd have to position your computer in a particular way.
That's kind of hard to do.
But if you have a third-party camera, there's a huge list on the company's website.
FireWire TV cam.
Yeah, so some do support remote control, and if it supports that, this program will most likely be able to control the camera. When you launch stop motion, it's called iStop Motion, by the way, and this is just, I'm going to show you this later. You can create a new document, and it asks you what frame rate you want it to be at, the pixels, so you can make a nice large movie out of this. And it's great because it stores the images as still images, so if you've got high res, you can maintain that. That's right.
Image, yeah.
So once you do that, this critter comes up and we can see, here I am. And if you're using the remote control, you can set a timer as far as time lapse itself goes, how many seconds in between.
Or you can do it manually.
Right. So if I do this manually, I'm just
going to
click.
bend Gumby and then you press click.
That's right.
You bend Gumby some more.
But this cool thing here is you take a shot, and then you get this onion skinning thing.
Oh,
see that? So you can see what the next shot's going to be.
Makes it so much easier to make Gumby look smooth.
That's right. So if you've got that next shot, and then you can do it, and you get the next one, and it just keeps going.
Oh, this is really neat.
It is really amazing, and if you use it with an external camera or a really great camera, you can see the possibilities.
Yeah,
it's pretty unbelievable.
How much is iStop Motion?
It's only like $30 for or $30 or $40 for a lighter version.
Now you didn't use this in India.
No, well, I used this program not to control our camera, but to put a bunch of still images we took.
So existing images, you imported them in.
Yeah. So for example, let's see if I don't think I have a folder, but I have the actual.
Show us the movie. I mean, that's all right.
Yeah. So here's the movie. We took a lot of shots, and you can see they all go in.
Okay.
If the screen's
So in some cases, you took shots with your kind of motor wind so that you have shot after shot? Or?
Yeah, we actually used remote control software for my wife's Olympus camera.
Okay.
And so it took shot after shot every 10 seconds, and we did it for about an hour or 2 hours, right?
Great.
And then we loaded those images into iStop Motion. So we didn't actually take the pictures with iStop, but we loaded them in sequence. You can also fool around with exposures and quality within the program itself. But once we did it, we loaded them in. I'm going to hit play, and this is really fun. This is a sunset
at the beach.
So it's rendering the movie, so it takes a moment. I thought I had already rendered it. I'm sorry about that.
Well, what's that QuickTime icon? Is that?
Well, I'm going to show you something else too. That's a different thing as well. You can export to QuickTime format.
We'll just stall. It's actually doing it pretty fast. How many images are on
There's
here?
a lot. There's 379. 179. Yeah,
that's great.
So here we go.
Okay, now. Whoa.
A lot of activity.
That's cool.
A lot of people.
And there's the sun.
It went down.
Wow.
And they're just fun. I just watch this over and over again, and it's really cool.
That's really beautiful.
Another thing that we did was we exported it to QuickTime, and I made the film go a lot slower. And so then you get to see these really cool transitions with people appearing and disappearing.
Neat.
So it's not
fluid.
No, but it gives you a kind of nice fade effect, and it's really peaceful. And you can put a soundtrack on this and really go to town. You could import this into iMovie.
I love it.
So I really love this.
What are these little cards?
Okay, so one of the features of iStop Motion is you can also create your own flip books.
So it actually printed cards out?
Yeah, so I'll show you.
Do you send them to a provider, or should I flip it?
No. Well, you can try to flip it if you can get in there. It's hard to. It's a small one.
But that's the one we just saw.
Yeah, this is just an example of a flip book version of that. You can give it as a gift or just have it. You can make bigger ones than that. But to do that, here I'm going to bring up another stop motion thing here. This is just a short film with some birds appearing.
Okay.
Before you render it, you can actually go print flip books. You can put them in a row. It's built in.
What a great little program. It does everything.
Flip book, and then if I go to the iStop Motion feature, it says, okay, how many on a page? How big do you want them?
Fantastic.
And it prints it out.
Jeff Barrett is the wizard behind MacMedics, macmedics.ca. They're in Toronto. And, of course, to learn more about iStop Motion, what a neat program. I'm going to run out and buy it today. Go to our website, callforhelptv.com. We'll be right back with our final thoughts after this break. iPhone. 1 million movies. A cajillion contacts. It's beautiful. Clock. Remember, did you see that on Saturday Night Live? This is not an iPhone. Sorry, didn't mean to get your hopes up. But believe me, the minute there's an iPhone available, Mikey is going to buy one. This is his temporary phone. No, you're not going to? All right. Mikey says, no, I'm not buying one. I'll buy it then, and you can be jealous. We do thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I hope you learned something. I hope you went home or will go home with something that you can use. That's what we're trying to do with every single show. Of course, one of the ways you can help us do that is by calling in with a question. Here's what you do. You go to the website, callforhelptv.com, and you click the Ask a Question link. Fill that form out with all the details. That way we can get you on our next show. Remember, if you've got a problem with your personal confuser, don't whine, don't moan, don't yell. Just call for help. We'll see you next time.